All right. Welcome to the video, guys. Today we are talking about my new Springfield Prodigy. You could call it the Springfield Prodigy comp, but that might be disingenuous because of what has been done to it. I'm gonna do a build overview about this one. You guys probably have seen this gun on the channel before, but this is the most meaningful change this gun has seen since the day that I picked it up. Sweet, before we jump in, I would love to talk about some sponsors of the video. First off, DK Mags, they're fantastic. They're a gun store here in Minnesota. Even if you're not a Minnesota local, you'll want to check them out because they got cool stuff. They have guns, ammo, holsters, NFA items, parts, accessories, belts, knives, everything you could ever want as a gun guy. If you head in-store, they'll give you 5% off most accessories and ammunition, as well as 2.5% off most firearms. Some exclusions apply, but they'll take good care of you. You can call them up ahead of time as well to get some information if you would like. Next up, this year has seen a number of high-profile breaches, data breaches, and hacks, raising serious concerns about personal security. Dell suffered a breach that exposed over 3.9 million customer records, including sensitive information. AT&T had two breaches, one impacting 2.5 million customers, and another impacting nearly 9 million customers. And finally, for you concert goers, unfortunately, Ticketmaster suffered a breach impacting over 560 million customers. That's a lot of people. The most alarming of all, just a few months ago, the National Public Data announced that nearly every American was impacted by a data breach. This incident included over 2.9 billion customer records. There aren't that many people in the United States, so that's like every background check that has been done. This includes critical personal information, such as full names, addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, and most importantly, social security numbers. And confirm that members of this high-profile breach have released the sensitive information online free of charge. So all of this to say, if you haven't been taking your online personal security safely, but you've been taking your physical personal security safely, now might be the time to consider a more holistic approach to your security plan. Thankfully, I feel secure because I use Aura, today's sponsor. Aura monitors your personal data, including social security number, across billions of data points all over the dark web and public court records. All this to alert you about potential identity theft. They also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance in case the worst happens. Plus, Aura has a variety of features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, which I use every day on both my phone and my laptop, data broker opt-out requests, stopping companies from selling your personal information to those with some nefarious intentions, and a password manager to help you create and secure strong passwords, and more. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/KoreanMarksman. There, you can get 2 weeks for free. That'll be enough time to give Aura a shot, see if it's right for you, and find out if any of your personal data is exposed. Thank you, Aura, again, for sponsoring this video, and yeah, you guys can check that out in the description below. All right, so talking Springfield Prodigy. Now, the latest model of the Prodigy came out, the latest generation, and that is the Prodigy Comp. It comes basically exactly looking like this, with a port on top in a 4.25 inch model and a 5-inch model. This is not the Springfield Prodigy Comp. This is a comped Springfield Prodigy. So I had this comp. This is the, what's the comp called? Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. This is the Plague Comp. That's right. That's right. I think it's a fantastic comp. I think Scott from Skip's Guns did an excellent job. However, bang for your buck, you might be better off just getting the 4.25-inch Springfield Prodigy comp, and that's one less modification you'd have to do, one less thing you have to pay for, but additionally, one less thing you'd have to send off your slide and not have it in your physical possession for. I don't know what his lead times are currently, but a lead time that you would be without your gun. Now that I've kind of clarified what the model is, this is actually one of the earlier models of the first generation regular Springfield Prodigy, which were, if you guys might remember, known for having some issues with quality control, reliability. Before we dive too deeply into the build, I do want to talk about this gun itself, why I have it, what I use it for, and what I would recommend to you guys to pick up a 2011 for. This is my big boy gun. This is the biggest and heaviest gun that I own. It's my nightstand gun. It's my range toy. If I competed, I might choose this one. And then sometimes when I go camping or when I'm doing something where I don't need to worry as much about concealability and I can kind of carry it openly, this is what I opt for. Additionally, I also rock this in off-body carrying scenarios because, as we'll get to it later, the grip is very, very aggressive and will tear apart clothing, but also my skin if I chose to concealed carry it like appendix style. I know I did just flag myself, but technically you flag yourself every time you reholster. So I think this gun serves that role perfectly. If I were to do it again, I would still reach for this one. I wouldn't get the 5-inch model. I think the look of it, I think a commander length, a 4 1/4, 2011 looks right. It just looks really proportional and very sexy in my opinion. And I'm happy with the size, the length that I've gone with. All right, we've talked about the why and kind of how I use it. Now we can talk about the what. So with the Prodigy, obviously it doesn't come like this from the factory. I have done a few things to it, including the play comp that we talked about earlier. Now I did a front sight delete, a half iron sight delete, as some of you guys pointed out on my previous video on this. I took the front iron sight off because I don't necessarily feel the need to have backup sights on this gun. I trust the optic, I trust the mounting plates. I did not take the rear sight off because it's affixed to the optic plate and I would have to like cut it off and I don't care enough to do that. The optic that I do run is the Siley Bear. It is one that I'm considering upgrading to. Specifically the Aimpoint Acro P2 is what I'm thinking of. It looks similar but is a more reliable optic, a more duty, harder use, not necessarily hard use because some of the Acros have had issues, but the Bear has also had issues and the other kind of repackaged versions of Siley's Bear. They don't make it themselves. So that's something that I'm considering upgrading to in the future, but so far I have not had issues with this optic. The slide has been DLC coated, upgraded from the Cerakote Springfield Prodigy did, and the Cerakote that they did was applied lazily and in a very thick manner, one that kind of slowed the gun down and wore nastily, if I might say so. So it looks better, it feels better, and it cycles and runs, operates much better than before. I got that done from DNA Firearms, and I would highly recommend that coating. They did offer it to me for a discount, but I still paid for it. So we do have some PVD coated parts. The barrel and the handle, or the barrel and the hammer, are PVD bronze, and that was done by North Star Coating. They're a local shop here in Minnesota. I might not recommend them because they do have a minimum cost. I think at that time it was $200, so you'd have to give them enough parts to coat to reach $200, and that's their bottom dollar. So you could probably find places that would do these two small parts for cheaper if that's what you're looking for. Other than that, the finish has held up quite well. Obvious wear in some of the higher friction areas, but it still looks beautiful and operates smoothly. It has not caused any issues, which was the primary worry and concern of getting it done in the first place, but I wanted it to look like the Pit Viper from John Wick 4, so it was worth it. Inside of the gun here, what we have is a extended length firing pin spring, or an extra power firing pin spring with the standard length firing pin. That is to just provide another additional layer of drop safety with the 2011. I know 2011s are known to be not drop safe, less drop safe, it depends, drop safe kind of deal. So I really wanted to stay on top of the spring maintenance as well as the spring just poundage and the spring rate of what I'm deciding to run in this gun. I also have a toolless guide rod from Dawson Precision. I would highly recommend that. Like if you're not thinking about any of these other like performance mods or aesthetic mods, that's one that is super practical that you guys should probably do. Did I say it's from Dawson? It's from Atlas. So for some users, their guide rod has unspun and then caused the gun to just stop working. Of course, once you tighten it back up, it'll work again, but then you need the Allen wrench, and if you're trying to shoot it in a stressful situation, we'll say that, it could be even more stressful or life-altering for you. I did upgrade the thumb safeties. These are staccato thumb safeties, and one of the main concerns, a big concern, or I guess issue that I had with the Prodigy at the beginning was that the thumb safeties felt so sloppy, like really wiggly, right in the, regardless of if it was actuated or pressed down, there was some wiggle. There was a lot of slop. Here with these staccato safeties, I luckily didn't have to fit these whatsoever. They just dropped in and fit perfectly. It's cleaned all of that up. It's stiff, but actuatable, comfortable, and it feels positive. It feels high quality. So I'm very happy with the way that those feel. And riding my thumb on the thumb safety, it doesn't wiggle. And that's a big deal. When I'm shooting, there's no kind of feedback I get from that thumb safety. It's just positive, and I can reliably press down on it, mitigating a little bit of recoil as well as managing that thumb safety in the depressed position. Probably the biggest, most obvious change to this gun since I've shown it on the channel last, we're looking at the Cerakoted frame, we're looking at the Atlas trigger, the bottom half, and the silicone carbide grip. All of this was done by Charles over at Battle Ready Arms. They are a fantastic company, don't sleep on them. He also did my Glock 48, kind of version 1 of that Ultimate Carry Package build. You guys can watch that video here after you're done watching this one, and I'm just really impressed with those guys. The details, the quality, the attention to detail, I should say. You can tell that Charles and his team over there love what they do, and they care about providing their customers with the highest quality version of whatever they offer, whether that be stippling, coatings, porting, slide work, anything that they do. They just do it with great care. So what we have here is a Arid, I believe is what this is, or a like desert sand multicam. This is Cerakoted, and then he did the whole grip itself, as well as obviously the magwell here. It's not an advertised service that he does, but you guys can maybe ask him about it if you're interested in having him do stuff like this. I don't know, but what I do know is that he did a fantastic job, a perfect job. He fitted my Atlas trigger for my Springfield Prodigy. I tried to do it myself, and failed miserably. And every like 2 or 3 pulls with live rounds in, explicitly and exclusively, I would have like essentially a 20-pound trigger pull. Then I'd drop the mag, take out the ammo, and the trigger would be fine. But he was able to fit this perfectly, and it runs amazing. So he knows what he's doing with a file, I'll say that, and when it comes to 2011s. Additionally, his cousin started up a business where he's doing silicone carbiding for grips, handguns, rifles, like especially also for the M-LOK, kind of the rail scales, adding texture. And the silicone carbide, this is a very abrasive, a very aggressive texture to put on a gun. It's kind of like skateboard tape, honestly. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's for men with calloused hands and who aren't afraid to get their perfectly smooth, lotioned up hands a little bit calloused. I love this stuff. I showed it to my neighbor. I've had friends shoot this gun in this configuration, and everyone's just blown away. They're like, what the heck is that? That feels amazing.
It's like cheat codes.
My neighbor said, and he owns a Glock 19, he's been shooting for longer than I have, said that he's never been a fan of the stippled guns, especially the hand stippled stuff, or at least maybe the stuff that I've hand stippled. And when he put this in his hands, he was like, dude, that's it. Like, you need to send me this guy. He was a major fan of the aggressive texturing. And sure, you know, when you have a high round count day, you're gonna feel it. It might chew up your support hand. It might even chew up your primary hand, but I would never do this texture for a carry gun. That's why I've chosen to do it for my Prodigy. Maybe doing it for like a rifle build or something in the future. That could be cool if his cousin's down. But selecting to do this texture for a specific role gun, one that is not designated for carry or for everyday on body, I think you might regret that decision, as I said a little bit earlier, because it's just so rough. It would tear up your shirts, it would tear up your skin. I think it's more better suited for a duty gun, a nightstand gun, a range gun, stuff like that. The roles that I've designated this gun to that we talked about earlier. All of this work was done for me free of charge. However, I would absolutely pay for what Charles did to turn this gun into what it is now. It's perfect. That's all I can say. Like, there are plenty of people out there who say, oh, Springfield Prodigies, don't waste your money on them because you can get an Atlas. It'll never shoot as good as a staccato. It'll never look as good as a staccato. I disagree, man. I really disagree. And this is what put me over, because with the fit thumb safeties, with the upgraded internals that I do have from both EGW and Brazos Custom, so I have better parts than what staccatos come with. And sure, okay, it's never gonna be as good as an Atlas. As it sits right now, it's better than a staccato. It's heavier, it's integrally ported, it's flatter shooting, it has an Atlas freaking trigger, the Internal components are better. It is more drop safe than a staccato. It looks cooler. It's got better grip, texture. I didn't even freaking ask him about this. He even better fit my magazine release. Apparently, this is a stock one. I've never changed it out, so it should have been perfect, or at least good from the factory. There was some friction on the inside where it was just wearing down and kind of getting nasty and chewed up. And obviously that's not ideal, but it did rear itself as an issue. Every time I would drop my magazine with rounds in it, it would spit a round out every time. The magazine would seat, I would eject it, and then a round would pop out of the front of the mag. And that is, at least what seems to be obvious, an issue of the fitment of the mag release. So that has been fixed. I didn't even ask. That is another example, another testament to their dedication over there at Battle Ready Arms. Those guys are freaking fantastic. The communication, they make you feel like you're their only customer. And not like, oh, these guys are inexperienced, I am literally their only customer kind of way. Much rather the opposite. They make you feel like your build matters to them. They make you feel like you matter to them, and that they just want you to be happy with what they do. I'm absolutely over the moon about this gun, the way it shoots, the way it feels, the way it carries even. In bags, not necessarily on my skin and holsters. And yes, I did sell my Staccato CS. To me, this is my perfect 2011. This is what is financially feasible for me. It's something that I was able to pick up, and then over the months, over the years, I've been able to change things, tweak things, perfect things, and get really familiar with the platform, with the gun. And boy, I'm so glad I've gone this route, because it's exactly what I've always wanted it to be, what I've always dreamt it to be. It's better because I didn't have the camo idea. Charles just was like, hey dude, what if we did this? I think it would look sick. And I was like, oh, I don't even know, let's just find out. And turns out, he was freaking right. So go ahead and check those guys out. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. But yeah, this is by far the nicest gun I've ever owned. And obviously, because I literally did, I would choose this over my modified Staccato CS, which is of more value and more expensive than this gun, but I just feel like this gun is honestly better. It shoots better, it feels better, and I'm gonna stand by the fact that I think this gun is better than a Staccato. Take that for all you haters in the comments who are giving me shade for saying or making a video called How to Make Your Springfield Prodigy Better Than a Staccato, because although we might not have done it in the video that I actually titled the video for that, we've done it now with the help of Battle Ready Arms. Let me know if you guys agree. Thank you guys for watching. I'm super pumped about this gun. I can't wait to continue to put more rounds through it and push it to the limits. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and God bless.